Okay, what's up, folks? Rich Van Tassel back with you, continuing on with our game picks for Week 10 of the NFL season. And of course, we're recording audio for Get Live Radio. The Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-2, 4-1 on the road, travel to Indianapolis to play the Colts, who are 3-6, 2-2 at home. Injuries for the visiting Steelers, only one listed. It's James Harrison, the pass rushing linebacker. He is out. For the Colts, Malik Hooker, safety, is an injury reserve out. Kamir Aiken, wide receiver, John Simon, linebacker, are also out. T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver. Quincy Wilson, cornerback, questionable. As it's being reported, it's a trap game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You worry about it. Going on the road, Indianapolis is pretty porous just all the way around. Their offense is not clicking. It doesn't look like Andrew Luck is going to play at any point this year. I assume that would take a lot of wind out of the sails of these guys, knowing that he's not coming back, and at 3-6 the season may be lost. Even in the AFC South, you have teams like Tennessee and Jacksonville starting to pull away. So I don't know what Indianapolis is going to bring to the table. Of course, with Pittsburgh, it's just finding the consistency for a team that's 6-2. You've had a lot of inconsistent play, reflective in the numbers, but still the team is winning. Luckily, most of the time, the inconsistent play happens in the games that they're losing. It doesn't happen just frequently. It's all bad things in the game that they lose. So they've had that. Antonio Brown is, of course, putting together a sensational season. He is going to torch the Indianapolis secondary in this game. Unless Pittsburgh just has a brutal letdown in this one, I don't see any reason that Indianapolis should be able to keep pace. And that's why I'm picking the Steelers to win big in this one. I like 31-13 over the Colts. The New York Jets, 4-5, 1-3 on the road, travel to Tampa to play the Buccaneers, who are 2-6, 2-2 at home. Injuries for the visiting Jets: Ed Stinson, defensive end; Matt Forte, running back, are out. Darius Stewart, wide receiver; Muhammad Wilkerson, defensive end; Morris Claiborne, cornerback, are questionable. Muhammad Wilkerson has been nursing that injury all season long. For the Buccaneers, Jameis Winston, quarterback, is out. Ryan Fitzpatrick gets the start. Robert McClain, cornerback, doubtful. Brent Grimes, cornerback; Robert Ayers, defensive end; Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle, are questionable. The Jets have a chance to get to 500. It's going to be a tough playoff road for them to continue to make it and do things in this division, especially, and all together in the wild card. A lot of good teams in the AFC. If they want to have any shot, they have to go down and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Things are completely falling apart for the Buccaneers. They had high expectations coming into this year. Now Winston is out. He may be shut down for the season because they're not going anywhere. Fitzpatrick is turnover prone. The Jets have guys who can turn the ball over, such as the rookie Jamal Adams. I'd expect there to be some turnovers by Fitzpatrick in this game, and Josh McCown, that is, makes enough plays in this game for the Jets to come away with the victory. Even without Matt Forte, Bilal Powell is a capable backup, and I see the Jets being able to get the victory. But a lot of trap games this week, as we've said. You had the one we just did, the Steelers and the Colts, so it's one to keep an eye on in this game. Of course, you have the Lions and the Cleveland Browns, but the Jets have to get this victory, and I expect that they will. I like a score of 28-20. I think Tampa will keep it close, but there will be too many turnovers by Ryan Fitzpatrick for them to overcome in this game. The Minnesota Vikings, 6-2, 2-1 on the road, travel to Washington to play the Redskins, who are 4-4, 2-2 at home. Injuries for the visiting Vikings: Sam Bradford, the quarterback, has been placed on injury reserve. He is out. Mike Remmers, offensive tackle; Jeremiah Surlis, guard, are both out. Anthony Harris, safety; Everson Griffin, defensive end, are questionable. For the Washington Redskins, Arthur Jones, defensive tackle, is out. Zach Brown, linebacker; Monte Nicholson, safety; Niles Paul, tight end; Brian Quick, wide receiver, are questionable. So it looks like Washington is getting healthy on the offensive line. That's very important. I'd like to see if they can develop some sort of running game. Chris Thompson is just shy of 5 yards per carry. He's not playing much, though. You're turning to guys like Samaje Perine to get the job done, and it just has to be more official because a lot's being placed on Kirk Cousins. Cousins quietly putting together a good year, high in the incompletions, but he's keeping his turnovers down. He only has 4 interceptions, 13 touchdowns, a lot of yards, but of course, when you're not running the ball, a lot's going to be expected to you to pick those yards up in the passing game, so he's doing that. So it inflates the numbers just a bit. Case Keenum has been playing very well for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see what happens when Teddy Bridgewater comes back, because, of course, now Sam Bradford is done for the year. That defense for the Minnesota Vikings is very good. Good defensive line especially, and a good secondary, really good on all three levels. You have guys like Xavier Rhodes in the secondary, Andrew Sendejo at safety, so those guys will make the plays needed to really limit that Kirk Cousins passing game, and they'll also get pressure on him as well, dealing with injuries on the offensive line. Washington will be game as they always are. They do have a solid defense that's been very underrated, but at the end of the day, I think Minnesota's too strong and they come away with a victory. I like 24-20. The Los Angeles Chargers, 3-5, 2-2 on the road, travel to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars, 5-3, 2-2 at home. Injuries for the visiting Los Angeles Chargers. Joe Barksdale, offensive tackle. Hayes Pullard, the third linebacker, are questionable. For the Jaguars, A.J. Cann, guard. Jeremy Parnell, offensive tackle. Patrick Omaha, guard. And Marquise Lee, wide receiver, questionable. D.D. Westbrook, the wide receiver, is an injury reserve out. So you see some questionable injuries to the offensive line. I expect questionables to go. If some of them can't go, that will limit what Leonard Fournette does. He's coming off the suspension. Look for him to come out with some fury in this game. I expect them to pound Leonard Fournette a lot in this one. Blake Bortles has been playing pretty well this year, keeping his turnovers down. They've been high at times. Of course, Phillip Rivers, a lot being expected of him, over 2,000 yards, but he's had to throw the ball a lot. Melvin Gordon, just over 4 yards per carry. He's starting to come along, so let's see how well he's going to do against a good Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville, another defense, good on all three levels. I expect the Jaguars to get turnovers off Phillip Rivers with that good secondary, so keep an eye on that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say Jacksonville finally shows me something in this one, gets to 6-3, and beats a bad team coming west to east, playing at 1 o'clock, and does the job that you've expected and been looking for this team for a few years now. Don't be surprised if they lose it, of course, the moment I pick them, but I like the Jaguars getting turnovers and coming away with the victory, 27-24 over the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, we will be back in just a little bit to finish up with the game picks for now week 10 of the NFL season. Stay tuned. Thank you.